Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's your friend Bats. My name is Jared. I'm sitting here with my boy Carl, and he's a good boy. So it looks like DC Blackout is in effect. I've seen lots of, not lots, but I'd say a good handful of, fellows and folk, if you will, saying they're dropping their DC books. Okay, that's you. You do your thing. And if you watch my last video, DC Blackout is dumb. That's how I feel. DC is under the impression that black people don't show up for comics and buy comics, so they don't really market towards black folk, and so dropping the titles that you are currently buying if you're black is basically just, concreting DC's opinion of what they already think. So that's just dumb to me. So there's a tweet that was released a few days ago by Stephanie Williams. She is she's a writer at DC, and I could tell you my honest opinion. Is that I don't really know who she is. I don't know what she's written. I know she did write something in the Dakota incident, but it was pretty well-crafted story that didn't feel like, however many people were on it. I think it was like 4 writers or something. It felt very fluid, and it didn't feel jarred with the different writers. So, and I did enjoy that issue. It was okay. Like, it wasn't wow, but it was like, okay, yeah, it was cool. It gives some nuance to what happened to the Dakota characters, the Milestone characters. All right, there, okay. But that was pretty much it. It just kind of went in. I read it once, put it in a box, and went into the closet with the rest of them. And so she says here, and by the way, I do read and collect and buy Titans, and I'm looking forward to Static showing up on the team. I liked his appearance in, was it KO All Kids Fight or whatever that issue is called. It was kind of whatever. I did a review. I liked it more than I liked the Dakota incident, and that was just because, I don't know, maybe I just liked it more because I like John Kent. So Stephanie here says, all I know is when this announcement happens for the long-awaited project, few more black creators have coming pre-orders, better be through the effing roof. Oh. I think, yeah, I mean, it's kind of what happened with the Dakota incident, right? They say that, and I guess they're not wrong. They say that DC doesn't market black comics well enough. And I can see that. I can agree with that. But I've also said many times over that a lot of the black characters at DC don't have the star power to really hold their own book. And that's not a knock on the character. That's a knock on the creatives not making those characters as popular as they could be. I mean, I personally think that Tomasi did a really great job with Jon Stewart in the Jeff Johns era of Green Lantern. You had Peter Tomasi on GLC, and he really cemented what I liked about Jon Stewart outside of the Justice League cartoon. personally, when it came to, I know a lot of people who really liked Mr. Terrific in Superman movie, and that's great. But I don't think outside of maybe Jeff Johns JSA from, man, what year was that? 2003. There has been much hype on Mr. Terrific. Like, he makes appearances here and there, and like, I read Nightwing, so he's the guy who developed Nightwing's newest costume. Okay, yeah, that's cool. That's fun. He makes appearances in Flash and different DC books, and that's fun. And yeah, I didn't have much interest in reading Mr. Terrific Year One. I heard it was good, but just didn't have much interest in it. And I think the big problem here is not only is there, a lack of marketing on, black characters or black-centric books, there's also no star power on the books. And I'm not trying to discredit any of these creators in any way. I'm not. Like, they're doing a dream job, and that's amazing. That's awesome. They have a job that I wish I had, and so I'm very impressed that even you're in the position you are. I'm not trying to discredit anyone, but a lot of the I'm like, I don't know who Stephanie Williams is, and that's my own ignorance, I guess. But like, she hasn't been on a book that where I like read it, like a book I already read. And that, I don't know if that's her choice or DC's choice or what, but I don't know who she is. Like, the same thing with, say, Stephanie Phillips. I've heard of her, but it wasn't until she wrote Daredevil that I was like, oh, cool, I get to read her book, because she's writing a book that I read. And that's not so much like, that's just how it is for me as a fan, as a comic book fan. Had Scott Snyder had never written Batman, I would have never read Scott Snyder. I like, say he never wrote Batman, but he did like American Vampire and Undiscovered Country or whatever it's called. And he's done plenty of other things that I just can't think of off the top of my head right now, Witches. I wouldn't have read him. And that's not a knock on him. That's just, this writer came over to a book I already read, and then I read his stuff, and I was like, oh, he's a good writer. And then I followed him elsewhere. And that's kind of how it's kind of always been for me as a comic book reader. So when Stephanie Phillips says, like, the pre-orders better be effing through the roof, like, okay. I mean, yeah, I see what you're doing. I don't know if you're like, I don't want to say she's begging, but it kind of comes off that way, at least the way I read it. Like, they better be through the roof, like, because if they don't, it's your fault. Like, well, sure, but isn't it also your fault, Stephanie? If you're watching this, and I'm not trying to be rude, isn't it also your fault for not telling a story that's good, that word of mouth gets around, and then other people check it out? Like, I don't go out of my way to read G. Willow Wilson. I don't go out of my way to read G. Willow Wilson. I did, I was curious about, was it Miss Marvel back when the hype was around, and I saw it at my local library, and then I read like the first 2 trades, and I was like, oh, okay, I see what the hype's about. Not really my flavor, But yeah, it was a good read, and returned it to the library, and to this day, it was 13 years later or whatever it is, I still go, yeah, those first two trades are good. I remember enjoying reading those when they came out. And then recently, I've been hearing a lot of good things about Black Cat, and I was like, oh, cool. It's a really good. It's a good book, huh? People at the shop had told me it was a good book, and I really, really like MJ as Venom. I know I'm in the minority, but she was guest starring in it, and it kind of gave me a reason to go, oh, I'm going to check out this book now. And then I checked it out, and yeah, it's a good book. Non-rating Black Cat. And so I think with Stephanie Stephanie Williams here, a lot of, I think that there is a small, there's a very small, like literally a handful, maybe less than a handful of DC heroes that are black or African American or whatever that have the star power to get people just to buy the book. And I know a lot of people have been talking about Vixen. I don't think Vixen's it. I don't think she has the star power to have an ongoing series. Because as far as I remember, someone saying that the demands of DC So White is that the book can't be canceled for 18 months, and which is kind of funny. It's like negotiating with terrorists. Like, reach our demands and we won't be mad at you. Okay. It's like, but I don't see Vixen as a character that's strong enough to have a solid, series for 18 months. Just doesn't, year and a half, and the way they got like Jeff Johns on Shazam, and they can, they got Mark Waid on Shazam, and they can't even keep that book going, and he's like one of the main stars in Kingdom Comes, which is like one of DC's best-selling comics, and so it's kind of like the demand for the pre-orders better be through the effing roof is like, it seems like begging, but it also like continues to feel a bit demanding, like meet our demands, because if it's a Vixen book, I'm sorry, I'm not interested. Like, I like Vixen. She's great. I love her look. I love her powers. I don't know much of her character outside of like her being in the background of Justice League. And that's fine. That's fine. I just, and I really do hope that it is good. That it is good. Like, what needs to be through the roof is the storytelling and the art. That's what needs to be through the roof. The guy who doesn't read Vixen wants to hear how good Vixen is that makes him check it out. That makes him go, okay, what book can I drop so I could switch over to reading Vixen? That's what it is, right? So like, because like right now, me as in my budget, I have room to drop, say, X-Men United and fill that space. And I would love for it to be like the Signal. I love the Signal, and he gets no shine. For a guy named the Signal in a yellow costume, he gets no shine. He gets to be in the background when the Robins are around. Like, that sucks. And I wish he would, like, I really want daytime Batman, or, the daytime Gotham Protector. So much potential there. So much potential. But just, there's like, that's the thing is, like I was saying, Jon Stewart, Green Lantern, is that he has the star power to hold his own book. But, big but here, big old but here. He needs a recognizable star power writer or artist, and even better, both, on his book for it to be a profitable, ongoing book for DC. Right? Like, DC can just have a book called Green Lantern, and they could switch, they can switch it between Kyle and Hal all they want. But if there was just, Green Lantern Jon Stewart, or Jon Stewart Green Lantern, and it was written by whoever. Let's say it's Stephanie Williams, yeah. If it's written by Stephanie Williams and drawn by, I don't know, whoever. Like, insert your insert C-list artist at DC, and they're like, the sales better be through the roof, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, Green Lantern is doing Green Lantern stuff, and we're, like, they need, I'm sorry, Stephanie, but they need a star. And, like, I want you to be a star. I want you to be a star. I want to be wrong. I want to be like, oh wow, dude, I was like, this chick has blown me away in her storytelling. That was Gail Simone back in, what was it, 2003, 2002, when she was on Birds of Prey. I loved that book. But what really sold it for me was Ed Benes was on the book. And, your Birds of Prey is essentially like a bunch of pretty ladies on it. And I'm a male. And in 2003, I was 18. So, yeah, I was an 18-year-old young man. And there was pretty ladies with really great art on it. And the story was good. I liked it. I liked it a lot. And so, if Vixen is going to have a selling book, we need an artist that's going to sell Pretty Lady Vixen to the majority, not just black folk, but the majority. And I know, like, this can sound offensive, but, like, it's a visual medium, and, like, let's be honest, like, most DC fans today know who Vixen is because of Justice League Unlimited, and Bruce Timm's art did not shy away from her figure and her cleavage or any of that. There are scenes from a cartoon from 20-something odd years ago, John looking back at Vixen walking away and just watching her booty bounce. So, like, maybe someone like Gilliam March. Gilliam March is known for drawing very pretty ladies. So if we're going to get a Vixen book, let's maybe lean into sexy girl Vixen. She's an animal. She's a beast, right? Not like oppressed black people topics, because that's not gonna sell. That's not gonna sell long term. It's not gonna hold an audience. And I don't know. I want DC to be good. DC, in my opinion, currently is good. I understand people are upset about certain things. I get it. But if you wanna sell books, you gotta sell it to a larger audience other than the small niche. And I think that's the issue here, is that the demand for more black characters is a smaller niche than most people want to admit. Like I said it 20 times in this video. Most of the DC black heroes don't have the star power. And that's a problem. I think that is a problem. But it's also a problem that there hasn't been great creatives on black characters. Like, Tony Isabella isn't the guy to sell us Black Lightning. Sorry. He's like, is Jeremy Adams the guy, or Philip Kennedy Johnson the guy to sell us Jon Stewart? I think he's better than, I don't know. He's a better writer than most. Those guys are, at least today. But, if it's just like, if we're just talking only black creators can write black characters, that seems kind of racist. Yeah, because that's like, imagine me being like, only blonde-haired white men should be able to write Green Arrow. That's, yeah. We need to have the true representation of what it means to be a white man with a goatee in America. It just doesn't, it's so stupid. It's like asking Stephanie Phillips to poke her eyes out so she can write Green Arrow, or write Daredevil properly. Hey, splash these chemicals in your face so you really understand the representation of writing Daredevil. Silly. It's silly. It's like saying Stan Lee and Jack Kirby should never have written or created Black Panther, the king of the jungle of Africa, of a secret hidden world in Africa, because they're two Jewish dudes from New York. It's just silly. We need to stop this. We need to stop that. So that's the thing. That's the thesis here. Minorities only writing minorities is a dumb concept, and it doesn't hold up, and it doesn't sell books, because they're writing stories for minorities when they want, and then they get upset that the books don't sell because they're writing to a small niche crowd, not the mass audience. So market the book. If we're going to get a Vixen book, call me a pervert, call me whatever. Get an artist that draws women sexy. Get Gilliam March. Get Ed Benes. Let's call what's his name from the 90s on Catwoman. Call Jim Bellant. Go get someone who draws hot chicks. And that's their thing. Who's that guy who was on Aquaman who does like porno comics on the side? Like, get him. He draws sexy women. But if we're just gonna like make it a whole social issue, the book ain't gonna sell. I'm sorry. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I hope I didn't upset too many people, but we shall see. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace. Where's the stop button? Oh, there it is. All right, there we go. Later.